Let's try this again. Let's try this again. Okay. Alright, so I apologize for that, guys. Last time I didn't have the mic on. So, let me go ahead and go over here. Go ahead and type this in. Alright, so today I'm going to be going over some out-of-state matchups for the state of Alabama here. And each classification has at least one out-of-state matchup. I believe I've got all 51 written down on the notes on my phone. But and I'm also going to go over some like a idea for like a out-of-state challenge here in the state of Alabama, and give a few hypothetical matchups of that. But by the way, I don't know a lot about most of these schools and stuff, so if you guys could give me some more information on some of these schools and stuff, then that would be awesome. But I'm gonna start in 1A. Chipley, Florida, traveling to face Linden here in Alabama. Linden, a fairly successful 1A program. Chipley, I don't know anything about Chipley, to be honest. I'm not going to know a whole lot about most of these out-of-state schools. But yeah, like if you guys could help me out with that, that would be awesome. That would be really awesome. I'm telling you. 2A, we have Central Milton, Florida, traveling to face JU Blackshear, and we have J Florida traveling to face JU Blackshear. So Blackshear plays 2 out-of-state games, and they're both of them are at home. They're not traveling across state lines. Randolph Clay, Georgia, travels to play Cottonwood. Cottonwood, I do know about Cottonwood. I made the trip down there last year when Reeltown played them in the quarterfinals. Cottonwood's a very good team. They're going to be really good this year. They were very young last year. All right, Houston County plays 3 out-of-state opponents. They play at Graceville, Florida, at Baker, Florida, and at Arnold, Florida. And so Houston County traveling to the state of Florida 3 times. They must be fairly close to the state of Florida. I'm not entirely sure, but then we have Baker, Florida, traveling to Zion Chapel here in Alabama. Zion Chapel, another school I'm kind of familiar with. They've played Reeltown a couple of times in the last few years. Ranburne and Mount Zion, Georgia. It just said it didn't give a at or a verse or a versus, so I'm assuming that's going to be a neutral site matchup. But Ranburne and Mount Zion, Georgia. Greenville, Georgia, traveling to play Lynette. I know about Lynette. Reeltown has played Lynette several times in the last few years. It's interesting that they're playing an out-of-state game this year. Coosa Christian, the defending 1A state runner-up, moving up to 2A this year. They're playing at Pierce County, Georgia, a very successful football program in the state of Georgia. And to close it out in 2A, we have Red Bay traveling to face Belmont, Mississippi. So yeah, definitely some very interesting matchups there in 2A. Moving over to 3A, we have J Florida once again showing up. They're traveling to face Flomaton. And then Flomaton will also travel to the state of Florida. They play at Northview, Florida. So pretty interesting. J Florida plays a lot of teams out of the state of Alabama, right out of that Wiregrass and Mobile area. Northview, Florida, another school that plays quite a few teams in the state of Alabama. Northside Methodist traveling to face Patala Charter, Georgia. Petula, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but Northside Methodist travels there. And to close out 3A, we have Innovation Academy out of Tennessee traveling to face Westbrook Christian, coached by Coach Steve Smith. Coach Steve Smith playing, I'm not sure if this is his first out-of-state game or not, but he's definitely playing a fairly, I don't know anything about Innovation Academy out of Tennessee, but yeah, Coach Steve Smith playing an out-of-state game there. Moving over to 4A, we have Pensacola Catholic out of Florida traveling to face Mobile Christian. I think this is a matchup that has happened before. I think Mobile Christian won that matchup. Escambia County traveling to face Northview, Florida. Northview showing up again. Escambia County traveling there. St. Michael Catholic traveling to play Pensacola, Florida. Bluntstown, Florida traveling to W.S. Neal. So Region 1 has quite a few teams playing an out-of-state game in 4A. Moving over to Region 2, we have Opp, who's playing 3 out-of-state games. They're starting off with Northview, Florida. And that's a home game for Opp. Northview showing up again. And then they travel out of state twice. They play at Destin, Florida, and at Holmes County, Florida. So Opp playing 3 teams out of the state of Florida. And to close out 4A, we have Bowden, Georgia, traveling to face Booker T. Washington out of Tuskegee. Bowden is a very successful program in the state of Georgia. So, going to be a good test for Booker T. Washington under new leadership. Speaking of Booker T, moving over to 5A, we have Booker T. Washington out of Miami, Florida, traveling to face Williamson. Williamson will also play another out-of-state game as they travel to play Wayne County out of Mississippi. Next up, we have Faith Academy traveling to Tate, Florida. We have Pace, Florida traveling to Andalusia. We have Early County hosting Eufaula. Early County out of Georgia hosting Eufaula. Eufaula has played Early County, Georgia before, I'm pretty sure. Early County is one of those schools. They're a 1A school in Georgia, and they play a lot of 5A schools here in the state of Alabama. Pensacola Catholic, Florida, traveling to Montgomery Catholic. I'm not sure if this is Montgomery Catholic's first out-of-state game or not, but it's the first one in recent memory. Montgomery Catholic playing an out-of-state game. I guess they had a harder time finding teams here in Alabama to play. This one might be the most interesting matchup. We have Carver out of Birmingham. They're traveling to face Friday Night Lights, Permian, Texas. And this is Permian's homecoming game, by the way. I had to look this up. Sorry, guys. I don't know if you guys could hear that. I guess that's a jet flying over my house. But yeah, it's still flying. I can still hear it faintly. But yeah, Friday Night Lights hosting Carver, Birmingham. So that's going to be interesting. Carver, Birmingham plays another out-of-state game as they play Greenville out of Georgia. Greenville, Georgia playing a 2A Lynette and a 5A Carver, Birmingham. I'm not exactly sure how big Greenville, Georgia is, but Greenville, Georgia will travel to face Carver, Birmingham. And to close out 5A, it might be one of the most anticipated out-of-state matchups. We have Gainesville, Georgia, led by Coach Josh Niblett, legendary coach here in the state of Alabama at Hoover. He travels to face Moody, and that's going to be a battle right there. Moving over to Class 6A. 6A has got to step it up a little bit. Only 3 out-of-state matchups in 6A. Now, granted, they're all going to be fantastic matchups, I feel like. But, come on, 6A. Choctawhatchee out of Florida traveling to face Gulf Shores. Carrollton out of Georgia traveling to face Parker. And Oxford traveling to Central Carrollton, Georgia. That Carrollton, Georgia Parker game is going to be fantastic. You got Julian Lewis. Let me get a swallow of drink. We got Julian Lewis facing against that Parker defense with Naeem Alford and Jordan Crawford. That's going to be interesting. And now moving over to Class 7A. So I'd say right now my 3 most anticipated. All right, I'll give a rundown of like my top 5 most anticipated out-of-state matchups at the end. Moving over to Class 7A, Baker traveling to Moss Point, Mississippi. Baker, of course, under new leadership. Coach Juan Johnson coming over from Hewitt Trustful. He was their offensive coordinator. He's the new head coach at Baker. Baker's going to be a very good program in the future, and I feel like that starts this year. So, Mary G. Montgomery under Zach Golson traveling to face Pace, Florida. Daphne traveling to face Pine Forest, Florida. So Region 1 and 7A. Region 1 out of every classification seems to be getting a lot of these out-of-state matchups. I guess it's because they're closer to Mississippi and Florida. But yeah. We get North Miami Beach, Florida traveling to face Auburn. That's on a Thursday in week 0. So we got a school out of Miami traveling on a Thursday to play Auburn. And Auburn getting an out-of-state matchup. Callaway, Georgia at Opelika. Callaway and Opelika is kind of a rivalry game at this point. Choctawhatchee, Florida traveling to face Enterprise. Lutheran North out of Missouri traveling to face Central Phoenix City. Central Phoenix City also plays IMG Academy out of the state of Florida. So 2 very big matchups for Central Phoenix City there. Shaw, Georgia traveling to face Smith Station. Dothan plays 3 out-of-state games. They open up with their first one is at home against Chiles, Florida. I'm not sure how to say that. They also travel to Monroe, Georgia, and they play Godby, Florida. I guess I could do like my top 10 most anticipated, maybe. Thompson plays a couple of out-of-state matchups. They play Grayson, Georgia. That's a home game. And then the next week, they'll travel to face Lipscomb Academy, Tennessee. Lipscomb Academy and Grayson, 2 very successful football programs. And to wrap up the out-of-state matchups, we have Hoover traveling to Florida to play Western out of, I think it's out of Davie, Florida, which is where the Miami Dolphins facilities are. Which, if you didn't know, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, so. But yeah, and that's part of that Broward County Football Showcase. So yeah, I'm gonna break it down by the number of games by state. So we play 29 teams from Florida, 15 teams from Georgia. Well, not 29, but there's 29 games against a team out of Florida, 15 games against a team out of Georgia, 3 against Mississippi, 2 against Tennessee, 1 against Texas, and 1 against Missouri. So that features 6 different states. A couple of them are surprising. Like 4 of them are bordering states, and then you have Texas and Missouri. So that's very interesting. But I guess I could go over maybe do my most anticipated out of all right, so a few of my anticipated ones. I'm going to say Bowden, Georgia against Booker T. Washington. Booker T making their first semifinal last year. Bowden, a school that's very familiar with these big games, so that's going to be a pretty good one. Pensacola Catholic against Montgomery Catholic. 2 Catholic schools battling it out. Montgomery Catholic, I feel like, this is a good test for them because Pensacola Catholic's a very successful football program. Carver Birmingham traveling to Permian, Texas. I don't know why this one excites me, but I guess it's just the prospect of a school from Alabama traveling to Texas. Texas high school football is so big that, like, I guess it's just big. And we have had a team travel to Texas before. Hoover's played, I think they played Allen, Texas one year. And then, of course, that big Gainesville, Georgia, Moody matchup. That one's going to be huge. I can't wait for that matchup. Carrollton, Georgia against Parker. That, once again, another very anticipated matchup for me. This one comes towards the middle of the season, so both teams, we're going to know a lot about both teams by then. Parker, of course, my pick to win the 6A state championship. And in Alabama. And Carrollton could very well win the 6A state championship in Georgia. So, and then in 7A, I'd say that North Miami Beach, Florida Auburn game, I'd say that one's going to be interesting. Callaway, Georgia, and Opelika, both the Central Phoenix Cities out-of-state matchups against Luther and North Missouri and IMG Academy, Florida. And then I'd say both the Grayson's out-of-state matchups against Grayson, Georgia, and at Lipscomb Academy. And I guess that Hoover, Western Florida matchup is going to be pretty good too. So yeah, that's a few of my anticipated matchups, and I want to go over. I want to go over like something that would be fun. It's like you could feature it, I guess, either in Birmingham at Protective Stadium or at the Crampton Bowl, but do like an out-of-state challenge kind of. And here's a few of my hypothetical matchups we could get out of that. How about Central Phoenix City playing Bergen Catholic out of New Jersey? I think that'd be a very interesting matchup. How about Thompson against Mater Dei out of California? Mater Dei, arguably right now the best high school football program. And another matchup that you could do for Central Phoenix City, if you don't want to do Bergen Catholic, have Chaminade and Madonna travel. There's a couple of matchups for Central Phoenix City. Thompson against Mater Dei or St. John Bosco, if they'd rather travel than Mater Dei. But there's a couple for Thompson. Auburn against Central Miami out of Florida, and then Hoover against Bishop Gorman out of Nevada. And that's just a few of my hypothetical matchups that we could get out of that, depending on if those schools wanted to travel here or not. But yeah, I think it'd be really interesting to be able to do that. Just have maybe you could do like your bigger schools in Birmingham and do like some smaller school matchups at the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery. I'm not exactly sure how you would be able to do that, but I'm sure they could figure it out. But I think it would be a really good thing for the state of Alabama to be able to do that, to be able to have like an out-of-state challenge. But I don't know if anybody's in here, but let me know what you guys think about that. And I don't know. I guess it was just a quick stream today. The stream didn't go as long as I wanted to. I couldn't go into as much depth in these matchups as I wanted to, because I just don't know a whole lot about a lot of these out-of-school teams and out-of-state teams, and it would take a long time to research every game, time that I don't have, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know, just let me know what you think below, and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That would really help, and I would really appreciate that. And I'm going to hop off of here. I just wanted to do a quick stream today. Go ahead and I guess I could have made this a video instead of a stream, but it is what it is. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.